You cannot jump with your 2 feet in a relationship without checking the person, without making sure that this person is good for you. And so you have to be really careful. Take your time. And I know I used to be like that because I was very naive. When a guy came to me and tell me stuff, and I was like, oh, he actually likes me. And if I happened to like him too, I didn't even question anything. I was like, okay, he told me he likes me, so now we can be together. So your last 3 relationships and maybe more had the same pattern. So everything starts well, and the guy and you, everything is fine. And after 3 months, the guy starts to, step back, and he becomes more and more distant. And now at some point it just disappears. And maybe a few months later, he comes back, and then you repeat the same thing. So if you have noticed that your last few relationships have ended up the same way, and you notice that you see the same pattern, so you should be aware of what is called the anxious avoidant trap. And I've learned that thanks to a woman psychologist that I follow online. Her name is Brianna McWilliam. And so this is a real thing. And so we need to dig deeper and to understand what's going on. But that's not something that is random. It actually has a base in your life. And so you need to recognize the pattern and take the action to move away from it. Hi, my name is Amina. I'm a life coach, and I'm here to give you some tips, give you another perspective, and answer some questions you might have. So if you have questions or video suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. If you like what I do here, please subscribe, like, and share, and help me spread the word. So today I want to talk about the avoidant man, and so avoid the avoidant man. And because the avoidant man has a pattern, like I was explaining in the introduction. And so if you notice that in your last few relationships you have seen that pattern, now you need to understand that this man is emotionally unavailable. And if you keep going with the same guy, unless he does something, he does the work to get out of this, you're gonna continue this relationship and this cycle for years and years, and nothing will move forward for you. So my first point regarding this subject is recognize the signs. So like I was saying, I've learned everything thanks to a psychologist named Brianna McWilliam. So I will do my best and I forget to put the link below. But her name is Brianna McWilliam. She's a psychologist, and she has talked a lot about the anxious avoidant trap. And so there she explains what's happening when you have a person that is anxious and another person that is avoidant. So that's regarding the attachment style. So I am not a specialist of that, but I understand the principle. And so if you want to learn more about it, you can check her channel, so Brianna McWilliam. And so it's very interesting because in my case, I've noticed that my last 3-4 relationships, I was wondering, okay, why things are not working. I don't understand why everything starts the right way, and then at some point something happens, and then the guy moves away, and then I move away, and then the guy comes back, and I'm like, I'm no longer interested. And so I was wondering, so I did some research, and that's how I found Brianna. And because I was tired of seeing the same thing happening over and over again, so that's when I did the research, and I was I was willing to do the change that would help me to move away from that cycle. So at least for now, I understand why things went that way, and now I am, I'm working on, I'm doing the work so that I don't end up with the same kind of people, the same kind of man, and always do the same thing, the same cycle. So my first point, recognize the sign, is really important because of that. Once you recognize the signs, you know that, okay, oh, this guy is actually avoidant, so I should stay away from him. And you will save yourself a lot of pain and a lot of anxiety and questionings and all kinds of stuff. So recognize the sign and stay away from the avoidant man. So point number 2 is become aware of your patterns. And so to become aware of your patterns, you need to learn about the anxious avoidant attachment styles. And so if you have one of them, you will understand why you behave in a specific way. So in a summary, if I can say that, in short, so a person that is anxious, they tend to want to be with their lover all the time. They want to talk to them all the time. They want to be with them all the time. This is in a nutshell, but there are more complicated stuff happening behind, and that's why I recommend you go check the channel of Brianna McWilliam. And so the anxious person tends to want to be with their partner all the time, want to be with them, checking with them, being jealous, if somebody comes around, they're very possessive. And so it's very difficult for the partner to continue the relationship unless that person is, I won't say anxious themselves, because usually when you have an anxious person, they tend to be with an avoidant person. And so on the other side, the avoidant person is somebody, they want to be in a relationship, but the problem is they feel smothered after a specific time. And so they share the love, having a good time with their partner, and at some point they feel smothered, and now they want to run away because they feel like they're suffocating. And so once they run away, they have their times by themselves. Now they can come back. But the problem is you have 2 types of avoidant people. So the dismissive avoidant and the anxious avoidant. And so depending on which one you are, your reaction will be different. So the dismissive avoidant will tend to, when they run away, they don't come back. And the anxious avoidant, when they run away, you have chances that they contact you again. Well, yeah, that's in a summary, but it's more complicated than that. So please check the channel if you want to learn more about it. And so the thing is, you need to understand, are you an anxious person or an avoidant person? So if you watch this video, chances are you are anxious because you're complaining about your partner that seems to be avoidant. And so you need to recognize your pattern. If you tend to want to be with that person to the point that they are smothered, and even you can even be with what we call a secure person, that means that person doesn't have any attachment problem, so they're not anxious nor avoidant, they're just kind of normal, if I can say that, healthy, if I can say that. And so when you are anxious with a secure person or an avoidant person, you tend to do too much, and then the person wants to run away. And so you need to check this. You need to check your own pattern and understand why you're doing that. And you even need to do. Yes, no, that's my next point. So let's just go there. So my next point is dig and identify the source. So if you are an anxious person, you know anxious not in the sense of you have anxiety, but in the sense of you have an anxious attachment style. And so if you have an anxious attachment style, you need to check and dig. You need to analyze and understand where is that coming from. So usually the anxious attachment style is due to the fact that when you were a child, you didn't have the attention you needed and things like that. And so you need to do the work, because once you identify your pattern, now you can ask yourself, oh, okay, I see that I tend to do this. Is it normal? Okay, apparently it doesn't work for me. But why is it? Why am I doing this? And so when you ask this question and you start to dig and you start to look for the source, that's when you can become aware of what is happening. And because you're aware of that, now you can change the pattern. And so by changing the pattern, you will be able to reject the people who are not suitable for you. Because if you are an anxious person, you are willing to accept everything, as long as it gives you love, even if the person is abusive or the person doesn't treat you well. As long as you have the illusion that you are getting love, you will stay with that person. So it's really important to do that digging. So now my next point is, once you have done the digging and identify the source, now you need to do the healing work. And so we talked about avoiding the avoidant partners. But you see that we are coming back to you, not to the person, not blaming the other person. We are taking responsibility for our behavior. So if you know that you are an anxious person, you know that you need to heal whatever is at the source of your behavior. And so see a counselor, a psychologist. You can find people online that can help you. I follow a woman that talks about childhood PTSD, and it's I really like her channel. What is the very crappy childhood, or something like that. So I put the correct name. And so you can also check her channel. So in case you have had a very difficult childhood, abuse, neglect, and all kinds of stuff, you can check her channel. She can help you, because when you have been in that situation as a child, you tend to accept being abused as an adult, and being with avoidant partners is part of your pattern. And so before we get to the next point, I wanted to let you know that I have a one-on-one coaching service. So if you are interested in working with me, you can contact me using the link in the description box. I also have a blog, so if you are interested in reading it, I talk about the same kind of subjects. You can give it a try, and thanks in advance. And so my last point is, be careful when you're dating. So you have done the work to heal, and healing for me is something that you do every day. It's constant. You're getting better over time, and I prefer not to tell myself, okay, I'm completely healed, because I don't know, I still have my blind spots. And so when you do the healing work, now at some point you're gonna feel that, okay, I am ready to go back to the dating scene, and I feel ready to be with a partner now. And so because your tendency to be to have this anxious attachment style, or even anxious avoidant, because even the anxious avoidant person can be in this situation too. And so because your tendency, you have to be careful. You cannot jump with your 2 feet in a relationship without checking the person, without making sure that this person is good for you. And so you have to be really careful. Take your time. And I know I used to be like that because I was very naive. When a guy came to me and tell me stuff, and I was like, oh, he actually likes me. And if I happened to like him too, I didn't even question anything. I was like, okay, he told me he likes me, so now we can be together. And then you end up with a broken heart. So we don't want that. And so yes, be careful. If you're good with your intuition, I would really advise you to check with it. If you meet somebody and something in you tells you, no, don't do that, this is not good for you, listen to that. Don't ignore it. Otherwise, you're gonna be in trouble later. And I've done that many times. So yeah, let's just not do it. Okay, so to recap this video, avoid the avoidant man. Number 1 is recognize the signs. Number 2, become aware of your patterns. Number 3, dig and identify the source of your behavior. Number 4, do the healing work. And number 5, be careful when dating, when you get back on the dating scene. So my challenge for you today is go to Brianna's McWilliam website and take her test, her quiz. So she has a quiz where you can determine if you are anxious, if you have an anxious avoidant or anxious avoidant attachment style. It's not anxious avoidant, sorry, it's fearful avoidant. So if you have an anxious avoidance, if you have an anxious attachment style, or you have an avoidant attachment style, a secure attachment style, or you have a fearful avoidant attachment style. So take the quiz and see. That will help you to start to know your patterns, because she has pretty good questions and she has very good videos online. So start with a quiz, and then you can check her channel and you're gonna see the videos that explain the behavior. So please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share if you like what I do here. And if you have questions and video suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below. So my question for you today is, what made you successful at withdrawing? And so withdrawing is like when you have been in an anxious avoidant trap. So the relationship between the anxious person with an avoidant person. So once you have been in that and you have the roller coaster, emotional roller coaster, the cycle, the back and forth, the chasing, and then being together, the push-pull, all that. So if you have been successful in getting out of all this, what helped you? What did you do? So if you could leave a comment in the section below, that would be great for giving another perspective. So that's it for today. I hope this video helps. Until next time, I wish you a good week, and I will see you later. Thanks for watching. Bye.